Hey everyone, welcome back to my craft room. Today I would like to do a couple of scrapbook pages because I've been ready for weeks, but it's been one of those kinds of days. So, got everything laid out because, well, otherwise I'm sure to get to halfway and say, uh-oh, I forgot. Anyway, I think I told you that in trying to collect information for this book, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me for the wobbly camera. I still haven't gotten a new camera holder. I got this one from my youngest son and have no idea how to go about finding another. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I told you that in trying to get the information for this book, I kept running into brick walls, but they were brick walls of a most interesting sort. I kept finding out that things that I thought of as sort of not terribly private information were private and were none of my business as an outsider. Well, that's fair enough, but it left me wondering, okay, well, since I think that it's important for the kids to know both sides of their family, and I think both sides of the family are equally important, but I want to be respectful of a culture that I'm only just beginning to understand. Actually, beginning to understand might be a bit generous. Respect a great deal, but find mystifying. That's not terribly surprising. I'm also very mystified by the culture I grew up in about half the time. So anyway, I came up with a solution. Now, instead of trying to put photos and other things that are none of my business, but that I've already collected, I created little envelopes out of original designed paper. And I will put what I've already collected there. I won't look for anything else because it's none of my business. And so what I do know is there for the children to look at, and if they're interested, to pursue the information further. Now, this page is about Makita's parents. These tags are kind of heavy. I want to make sure they don't fall off. I think they're a gorgeous shape, but I don't have this die, so I'm going to use the nice heavy ones. Well, it's been a wild few weeks. Not bad necessarily, but wild. And of course I say that and my mind blanks. My son and his girlfriend have broken up, so she will be moving out soon, so we will have more space and arguably more peace, because she's been angry at us for months, which is what causes this to not be a terrible surprise to me, although they denied it right up until they told me they broke a week ago, so who knows. I'm really old. I don't actually remember being that young, but I'm sure I was. I know I was. And let me fold this back and put the next page on screen, that is. I forgot to do this piece. So that, and another thing is that my beloved has started doing physio classes 2 days a week. And because of his communication difficulties, I absolutely have to be there, which is making everything just a little bit more difficult. I mean, only because it comes up on laundry day, I suppose, but I'm not a big fan of change, so we'll get used to it. And it's only 8 weeks. It may be as much as 10 weeks because there's some holidays coming up, but yeah, it's not forever. And I'm so proud of him. He has been collecting up a check sheet and a list of things he's going to need to continue doing this at home. So I think when he realized he didn't have to be frail anymore, that he's done enough recovering from his strokes that he could get his strength back, he was enthused. So I'm proud of him. I'm so glad. And let's see, what else is going on? Well, I'm trying to make a steampunk card. We'll see how that goes. It's not something I've done very much of, but I've got some beautiful stamps and I want to use them. And I have a brother whose birthday is coming up, so I thought, what a good opportunity. Of course, I also made him a train card and decided that, yeah, wasn't him, so I had to start over. Isn't this paper pretty? Wandering Dreamer is so sweet and generous. She sent me some paper that is perfect for a heritage scrapbook. Now, I love this frame. I hope that I can make it work on the photograph. And although Christine is Aboriginal, I'm going to chance using her picture because she's still alive, so and because she knows me, I know her. I'm going to get that out of the way so I can use non-stick underneath the tape. And I'm going to hope this is okay. I suppose that I can always provide a sheet to cover her half of the photograph if she needs me to do that. And this handsome young fella is now my husband. This is for his grandchildren by his older sons, so. And in here, I have included a family tree and a one-page biography because I'm hoping that this will be useful for our grandchildren's grandchildren, assuming it lasts that long, of course. And I have another one on the other side for Christine's family to write her up. We're acquainted, but I wouldn't say I know her well enough to have any idea about her biography. And I suspect that that probably falls under the none of my business because, you know, your ex's wife, not exactly a best friend. And certainly not a family member. Another one I forgot. Oh well. Fun times. I had my first mammogram today for 15 years, I think. They've gotten better at it. Either that or I've gotten older and there's less resistance. I'm not sure, but it didn't hurt like it did the first few times. I had sort of given up having mammograms in the hopes that spending 9 years of my life breastfeeding might give me an edge. And then my mother got breast cancer, and she's fine. It turned out to be almost a non-event, almost. I mean, she did need to have surgery, and she did need to have radiation, but I don't think she had chemo. But she just kept plugging along during the whole thing. Every time I talked to her, she was fine, and she really did sound fine, and she didn't seem sick. So, I think I'm changing my mind about whether I would seek treatment if I developed breast cancer. I have a deep-seated fear of any kind of surgery, but somehow breast surgery doesn't seem as invasive and horrible as, say, colon cancer or something like that. So, it was worth getting checked. I better pay attention to what I'm doing. I almost forgot to put these on, and these are fairly important. If I can get this up, I'd like to move it up a little further because I was not taking into account the little labels. And it's coming up way too easily, so I think I'm going to add glue. So that once it's dry, it will stay stuck. Not letting out enough glue, but I have a bigger bottle right behind me. So, and I'm back at work on genealogy. I had taken a fairly long break, actually, almost a year. And then my aunt went back to work on the family newsletter, and I needed to get on the stick and get the index made, because she has been making this newsletter of family stories and family history for 30 years. It has gotten way too difficult to find any specific information from it. But the easy thing to do is to create an index that says what's in each thing, because then you know which ones you're looking for, right? So that's done, just in time for my computer to die. The frustrating thing is this is the second computer to die in in just a few weeks. The first one died and I bought a new one. And now it's got a black screen as of this morning. No idea what happened there. But today was too busy to go and get it fixed, so tomorrow we'll have to do that. Of course, the last time I bought a new computer, it needed to be replaced after just a few weeks. So frustrating. I hope they can just tickle it under the chin and convince it to work again. I think this is getting clogged because usually it runs faster than that. Oh dear. We call that not thinking things through. Okay. And this is all of Christine's children. Anyway, genealogy. Don't know that you would care about genealogy, but I have been, last year about this time, I finished writing my first genealogical book. I wrote it in tandem with my ex and my former daughter-in-law for my grandson, with all of the family. But now I would like to go in, it was a very brief picture book type of thing. So I would now like to write a much deeper story about just my side of the family, starting with my Irish side of the family, because as I mentioned, my aunt has been working for 30 years on documenting the French side of the family. And she has said she doesn't mind if I reformat it for my grandchildren at some point, because after all, she said, that's why it's collected, to share. So I want to work on the parts of the family that are not already documented. And this is Rodney and his children and grandchildren. Christine has other grandchildren, and I was disappointed not to be able to find a picture of all of them, but, all of her children and grandchildren. But since this book is specifically for Rodney's grandchildren, I suppose it'll be all right. And I will be back in an amazingly short amount of time with our Stash Builder collaboration. I hope at least some of you will be able to join me. I'm not sure that Wandering Dreamer will be able to yet, because just the things she has no choice but do are taking enough of her time and energy. But I can hope, right? And I did these. That's why I thought I had done them. I did some of them. As I look at this, I'm thinking that I should probably create a little tag that says parents of, and then Joel's name. Because I'm pretty sure that the kids will recognize this level. But we're about to get into a level where all of the faces will be strange to them, and they might not have any idea where people fit. And I do believe we're about to have a visitation. So there we go. 2 pages done. Thank you for joining me.